The all-time great Carolina Panthers, with 17 All-Pros and 3 members of the Hall of Fame, are led by this guy, Superman, taken first overall in 2011, quarterback Cam Newton. Likewise, the all-time great Houston Texans are led by a dual threat himself in the electrifying Dashaun Watson, who headlines a franchise with 7 All-Pro players and 1 Hall of Famer in Andre Johnson. For Week 4 of the BTFL, the all-time great Carolina Panthers visit the all-time great Houston Texans. There are 12 franchises in the National Football League who have never won a Super Bowl, and here are 2 of them. With Arian Foster returning as the greatest running back in Texans history, Houston gets a boost in preparation for a critical game against Carolina. It should be noted these are 2 of the least successful franchises in the National Football League. Only 9 playoff wins all time for the Panthers and only 6, which is the fewest of any NFL team, for the all-time Texans. So it should certainly be a really rough spot for the loser in this football game today. Panthers have won the toss and they will receive the Chris Brown kickoff to begin what should be a good one in this league between Carolina and Houston. We're underway with a big kick from Brown, and it is brought out of the end zone from 3 yards deep here to set up the Panthers inside of their own 20. The Carolina offense has never ranked in the top 5 in the NFL, even with Cam Newton throwing the football, and the winner of the 2015 NFL MVP throws it incomplete on the first snap of the game. He'll fake the handoff on the second snap to McCaffrey, and his pass to Steve Smith, who is the greatest receiver in Panthers history, likewise falls incomplete. Play action. Newton guns it to Smith again, and this time he makes the catch. The 2005 Comeback Player of the Year and the Triple Crown winner that season has it for the first down. Christian McCaffrey, one of the most electrifying running backs of the 21st century, picks up 9. McCaffrey will get the call again and is smothered in the backfield. McCaffrey has the 3rd most yards from scrimmage in a season in NFL history. That was in 2019. Smith, down the field he goes. Foot race to the end zone, and he's tripped up with a 26. A monster pickup from Steve Smith, 5-time Pro Bowler out of Utah. Newton tucks it, and there's a look at his phenomenal athletic ability as he's wrapped up inside of the 10. He has the most career rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history, more than Lamar Jackson, more than Michael Vick, and he may be a threat here at the goal line, but it's Christian McCaffrey instead for the touchdown. And the Panthers go 84 yards on the opening drive of the game and take the early lead. And John Casey drills the extra point to lift the Panthers in front by 7. Christian McCaffrey had a career marred with injury, but in his prime, as mentioned, a fabulous run-pass option, 3rd most yards from scrimmage in a season all time, and has the most yards per game rushing in Panthers history. Off of the good return, Watson and Houston's offense begins at their own 30 with a direct snap to the running back, and the all-time rushing leader in Texans history has a gain of 7 on the play. They're all to Foster, and this time he's buried in the backfield. An undrafted free agent in 2009 and helped bolster Houston to their best offense in franchise history a year later in 2010, where he set single-season franchise records. Similar to the big plays out of Foster was Andre Johnson in that era, and he's got a first down for the Texans, their 2nd in a row. Dashaun Watson with a pocket collapsing. His pass to Andre Johnson is incomplete. Hall of Famer Andre Johnson ranks 11th on the all-time career receiving list with over 14,000 yards. He is the target for the 3rd straight time and has got another Texans first down. Andre Johnson was the 2-time league leader in his day in receiving and receptions for the Texans. He has just been such a busy part of the offense on this drive. We'll see if the Texans run one more play here in this first quarter, and they will with Dashaun Watson on the deep drop. Pressure's coming, so he goes deep to Andre Johnson, and that is incomplete. Panthers go the distance on their first drive and lead it at the end of one, 7-0. Nick Rice-Hand from Houston, where the all-time great Carolina Panthers and the all-time great Houston Texans meet. Two of the 12 NFL franchises without a Super Bowl. The Panthers made it once and were crushed by Denver in Super Bowl 50. Arian Foster on the direct snap, nowhere to go. The Panthers' Charles Johnson was just one of the many great linebackers there to bring him down. To try and salvage the drive, this is Brown for the field goal, and that kick is no good. Panthers begin their second drive at their own 22. Play action to McCaffrey, and Newton will throw at the last moment to his reliable tight end, who coupled for the Super Bowl trip in 2015, Greg Olsen, who began his career with Chicago but joined the Panthers in 2011. Newton fires to Olsen, and that pass is incomplete. He was in the middle of his 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons when the Panthers made it to the Super Bowl in 2015. So the Panthers stall and will bring in the punting unit. Sauerbrunn will send it away. 3-time Pro Bowler out of West Virginia, deep to Pierce at the 10-yard line. Fabulous punt, and he shakes a tackle and picks up 10 on the return. The all-time great Houston Texans will take the field, but first Dameon Pierce leads the game, and that'll give us an opportunity to look at the depth chart for Houston. Arian Foster, Demarion Pierce, followed by Dominic Williams. He'll be the new number 2 running back for the Texans offense. Little-known player from the inaugural franchise team. Williams ran for nearly 80 yards per game in his 3-year career from 2003 to 2005 for this franchise. Houston, in the middle of the second quarter, faced 3rd and 11. Dashaun Watson, he'll use his legs for a moment, shoots it deep, and Andre Johnson gains 22. Fabulous lunging catch from the Hall of Famer, the only player on the Texans inducted into Canton. DeAndre Hopkins, who is the second best receiver in franchise history, has got a first down on the gain of 22. DeAndre Hopkins finished top 4 for the Offensive Player of the Year award 2 seasons in a row in the late 2010s. Hopkins is the target again, and Hopkins is down to the 2. Texans are not only moving the ball downfield, but are doing so very quickly. Watson is in. It's a 3-yard rushing score, and Houston is back within a point of tying the ball game. It was a rough career at the end of it for Dashaun Watson, but in his prime, which spanned about 4 seasons with Houston beginning in 2017, he was one of the best in the game. He led the league in passing and passing yards per attempt in 2020 before a disastrous off-the-field pair of issues really all but ended his otherwise very promising career. Panthers, with time running out, will go on the ground with McCaffrey, and he picks up a block and sweeps his way to the 20 before the Panthers will call their first charge timeout. Ron Rivera was the one stopping the clock, greatest coach in Panthers history. DeMeco Ryans is arguably the best coach in Texans history. 11-yard gain on the outside to McCaffrey, and a Panther first down with 13 seconds left in the first half. Make sure to join us in a matter of moments as Hank Simon will break down all the action here and across the league at the halftime report. And that'll happen now as McCaffrey picks up a first down. We are tied at 7 at the half. Hank, what do you have for us?
Hey, thanks, Nick. It's Hank back in the FAUX studio. We got the Panthers and the Texans. Both of these teams have not won a single game. They're trying to get in the win column as Cam Newton, Super Cam, finds Steve Smith Sr. over the middle, getting it into Texans territory. And then Cam Newton shows off his wheels. He's Superman, getting it to the 6-yard line. And then he'd hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey. His dad played it in the NFL, won a few Super Bowls with the Broncos and the 49ers. He's got the touchdown. Now it's the Texans' turn. Dashaun Watson, former first-round draft pick to the Houston Texans, would find Andre the Giant Johnson to the right side close to midfield. Then he'd back up, step up, find DeAndre Hopkins from the University of Clemson, getting it into Texans territory. Chris Brown, not the rapper, would try the field goal. It's no good. Texans would get the ball back after a Panthers 3-and-out. Dashaun Watson would find Andre the Giant Johnson sliding at near midfield, and then he'd go over the middle to DeAndre Hopkins. Great Pro Bowl receiver. And then he'd find him over the middle again, getting it close to the end zone. He's at the 2-yard line, and then Dashaun Watson would call his own number. The score is 7-all at halftime. This is Hank from the FAUX studio. Back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Hank. We're back to Houston at NRG Stadium, where the all-time great Carolina Panthers meet the all-time great Houston Texans on FAUX. Casey will belt it away to begin the second half. And this one's returnable from Brandon Cooks, one of the more unheralded receivers in NFL history. He was with the Texans from 2020 to 2022, playing with the Saints, Patriots, Rams, before his stint with Houston in the 2020s, closed his career with Dallas, 2,000-yard seasons for the Texans franchise. We begin with a big pass play from Dashaun Watson, whose Texans have turned it around since the first quarter of this one. And he scrambles out of bounds to the 40. One of the statistically great all-time quarterbacks in NFL history, running the ball and throwing the ball, is Dashaun Watson, as Foster on the toss picks up 5 and a first down. Dashaun Watson is the 6th highest rated passer in NFL history, 98.8 passer rating for his career. Incomplete there. A very efficient quarterback. He was cerebral and certainly read the game like a wily veteran early in his career. Watson with the corner blitz throws down the field, and Hopkins has got it. He's at the 10, and DeAndre Hopkins is in to give the Texans the lead. Touchdown, Houston. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the great receivers in the 21st century, led the league in receiving touchdowns with 13 in 2017. Texans scored 2 unanswered touchdowns and have the 14-7 lead with about 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. And this one's returnable from the 15 and brought back to the 25. The all-time great Carolina Panthers. Not much offensive talent outside of Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, who catches the pass here on a check down, and Steve Smith. A gain of 13 in the first for the 2-time Pro Bowler out of Stanford, who finished his career with San Francisco. Direct snap to McCaffrey, greatest running back in Panther history, along with both Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, create a great 1-2-3 tandem at the tailback position. Newton is hit as he throws deep to Steve Smith, and he's got it, and is down the sideline and in for a Panther touchdown. Many great Panthers receivers in their history, dating back to 1995. Players like Musa Muhammad, Mark Carrier, Ted Ginn, Kelvin Benjamin, and DJ Moore. But there is none better than Steve Smith of the Panthers. We're tied at 14. This is Brandon Cooks with a short kickoff from Brown. And the Texans will set up shop at their own 22 to begin their opening drive of the half. Arian Foster motors to the 27 to begin this possession. Arian Foster, Dominic Williams, Lamar Miller, and even Joe Mixon. A list of the greatest running backs in Texans history. Joe Mixon, over 1,000 yards rushing in 2024 with the Texans after a lengthy career in Cincinnati. Watson finds a seam on the scramble and gains a couple. The all-time great Houston Texans have a number of fabulous punters. This is Stanley who sends it away. First punt of the day for him, and he brings it back to the 38-yard line. Back and forth we go in this riveting football game. You certainly, on paper, expected this to be close, and it absolutely is. End of 3, we are tied at 14. A A lot of fabulous defensive players on display for this Houston all-time great franchise. A defense which led the NFL in yards allowed in 2016, headlined in that era by guys like J.J. Watt, of course, who's certainly in the short list of players who should be in the Hall of Fame shortly, and guys like Brian Cushing, along with others, Kareem Jackson and Jonathan Joseph, just to name a few. Todd Sauerbrunn, two-time league leader in punting yards and punting average in the early 2000s, a terrific punter in his day, sends it deep, and Brandon Cooks with a good return is down to the 25. 3:48 left in regulation. Glad you're with us. Nick Rice on hand out of Houston. Panthers and Texans are tied at 14. First target of the day, and it's a big one to Kevin Walter, who's down to the 35. Kevin Walter, 7th-round pick by the Giants in 2003, but joined the Texans along with Andre Johnson beginning in 2006, a good 1-2 tandem at wideout in their day, along with Owen Daniels, greatest tight end in Texans history as the pass catchers for Houston, and Matt Schaub. Dashaun Watson, that is, with a timeout called and 2:51 to go in the half, have the ball in the red zone, tied at 14. Watson surveys the field and throws to Daniels, and that is incomplete. Owen Daniels made a couple of Pro Bowls from 2006 to 2013 with Houston, tight end out of the University of Wisconsin. One timeout left for the Houston franchise as a field goal is on the way here from Chris Brown. That kick is up, and it is good to give the Texans the 17-14 lead. Still plenty of football left to be played as Brown sends away a short kick. That's taken to the 17 and won't get very far. Cam Newton, 2015 NFL MVP, racked up 45 total touchdowns that year. He's a capable passer. Hit as he throws, and that pass to Olsen is caught wide open at the 35, and the tight end is wrapped up at the 10. Greg Olsen, 3-time Pro Bowler out of Miami, played quite a while to begin his career with the Bears, but was at his best in the 2010s with Carolina. Newton off the play fake. He's got time and throws to Olsen for the go-ahead Carolina Panther touchdown. Greatest tight end in Panther history in front of Wesley Walls and Dante Rosario has the touchdown and the Panther lead. Greg Olsen and the Panthers lead at 21-17. This kickoff is high and away with a minute left in regulation. That'll set up very little time for Watson and company as Cooks dances to the 17. 83 yards to go in 48 seconds. We'll see if Watson can do it. He fires downfield, and Andre Johnson's got a first down with 31 seconds, make it 30 remaining, and the final charge timeout by way of Houston is called right there. They're going to need a big play, but instead they run the toss, and Foster is spilled on the sideline, but it appears that they're going to get very little time here. Maybe 2 plays. No, it looks like only one, barring a penalty, and Watson is sacked by Eric Davis, a Pro Bowler with the Niners and with the Panthers, playing in the 90s and 2000s. The Panthers win this one in Houston, 21-17. Over 200 yards passing for the winning quarterback, the MVP out of Auburn, and Cam Newton. For this outstanding BTFL game, I'm Nick Rice saying so long. Let's send it over to Hank for the post-game wrap-up. Hank?
Hey, thanks, Nick. This is PR52 from the FAUX studio, bringing you the second half of the Carolina Panthers at Houston Texans game. Dashaun Watson starts off the third quarter, throwing it deep to Kevin Walter, and then would end this drive. Over the middle, finding DeAndre Hopkins. He's bobbing and weaving around defenders. He's in the end zone. He's got the touchdown. The score is 14-7 in favor of the Houston Texans. They might get their first win of the season. But Cam Newton, he's Super Cam, 2015 league MVP, finding Steve Smith Sr., and he could go all the way and he wouldn't be caught today. He's got the touchdown. The Panthers tie this game up. Back to the Houston Texans, and Dashaun Watson, first-round draft pick out of Clemson, would find Kevin Walter to the 35-yard line. This would lead to a Chris Brown field goal. This one's up. This one's good. We go back to the Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton in the shotgun. No pressure in his face. Throws it down the right side to Greg the third leg Olsen. Rocket catching to the 20, to the 15, to the 10-yard line. And with less than 2 minutes left, Cam Newton, play action, rolls out. Greg the third leg Olsen, he runs into the end zone. And the Panthers take a 21-17 lead, 4 points. They'll eventually win this one by a final score of 21-17. The Panthers win this one. Thank you all. And Nick Rice, Charger Dude 95 from the FAUX studio.